we've seen the build and we've painted the body, and now it's time to hit the track. Practice day at White Nitro on the Isle of Wight. Granted, the track's not been prepped for a few months over winter, and it was the first usable day, shall we say. But what that meant was that the Tekno EB48 2.2 had an awesome proving ground, because if it can go around this track, it can go around any track. Get yourself a drink, because we're going to have a look at my experience of this awesome, and I said awesome, Ebuggy. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who started watching the channel. A lot of them are you techno boys. Appreciate it. What a day. I think I did maybe 8 or 9 packs on the car. I kept having to remind myself that it was still bedding in because it just felt good from the off. I see what you're all saying now. I get it. I get it. And I've said that to a couple of my friends. I've just messaged them out the blue and said, yeah, I understand. Techno takeover. But we love it. Just before we get into the video, let's do a little track walk. Show you what we're up against. So lots of the track is this kind of loose mud, some stone in there as well, some old hard packed oil with stone sections, quite a few of the jump faces now. You can see there that's a little bit blown out, so you've got to kind of take it a little bit more wide there. Jumping over to this section, we've obviously got some powder, kind of slightly moist dirt here, some old kind of oil, hard packed, kind of dry areas. So yeah, a real versatile kind of multi-surface track, which is really good for testing. The off-camber corner, which you can't really see from up on the rostrum, but it's quite cambered. We've got some edges where this was oiled previously. Kind of goes off onto the loose dirt, so it's a real multi-surface. And then over here, the crossover, which is a decking, and that jumps over onto a paved section. So it's all fairly broken up, so it's quite inconsistent. So that's a quick track walk, which just goes to show the features, or a couple of the features, and the kind of surface that we're driving around, which I think you'll agree is quite inconsistent. So if this car does well, top marks. Let's find out. So as we go over this first lap, I think the first thing that I noticed was the jump characteristics. The car jumps really, really flat. It jumps through the air with absolutely no problems at all, and absolute minimal input. Just coming round to the kind of main double here, over this single, flat, super flat. Moving on from the jump characteristics, I think the next point which I'd like to bring up is most definitely how the car lands. Again, it lands super flat. Let's break down how this car's driving. The overall grip, plenty of it. The split shock tower design, dropping everything down the front and rear bulkheads by 2mm, the LRC or HRC rear hubs, the -2mm spindles. The package generates so much grip and it creates confidence. Jumping, truly remarkable. It jumps flat with minimal input, and the landings, well, smooth as butter. You do not need to
interact with the car to get it to land super smooth. It just does it by itself with this box stock setup. The get up and go that this car has out of the corner definitely is just something that you've got to experience. It produces so much initial punch. It just gets up and it goes. You saw earlier the track is quite inconsistent, the grip varies, but this makes it look like the grip is consistent across the track, over the dry sections, the damp sections, the dusty sections, the fluffy sections. Well, just look at it go round. And remember, this is box stock. We've got more to come. I'll let you enjoy the last couple of laps here and then we'll get right back to the studio. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a winner.
Guys, I found this car to be unbelievably good. I think there's a few minor tweaks which I'd like to do, which are just those things where track to track, temperature to temperature, it might vary. I think I might go up in the shock oils from kit ever so slightly. I might look at a harder rear spring, possibly, and I might look at reducing the anti-squat just a touch. But these are the kind of things that you tweak track dependent. My track at the moment, or the closest track to me, is a little bit rough and it's quite loose in places. There's a bit of grip in places. Some of the jump faces, as you've seen, are a little bit blown out. But your track might not be. Your track might be loose and bumpy and dirt. It might be high traction. But there's a few things that I would change. So there we have it. After 8 or so packs, I couldn't be more impressed. And I've said from the start, with this brand and this car, this review series, something about this car feels right. It feels like you don't need to do anything major to the car. You tweak it, and that's a nice feeling to have. It definitely inspires confidence. And yeah, it just feels right. I think that's all I can really say. And that's just the Ebuggy. I'd like to think soon enough we're going to get the nitro buggy and possibly the truck. But we'll have to wait and see. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video. Appreciate you watching. Much more stuff to come on this car. That was just the practice day. Let's get racing.